Welcome to Reseller Recap, where we talk all things reselling across multiple platforms. Join us for real-life discussions on how we crush the elusive work-life balance. Grab a coffee and join us now.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Reseller Recap with Jen, Emily, and Morgan. Today we have one of our besties, Diana, back with us because she's been doing a lot for all of us and sharing all the info. And so now we want to share it with you guys. So welcome back, Diana.
Thank you.
We're going to start.
Guest number 45. You guys had a busy few months.
We have. We've so many episodes and you were the first. So
yep.
Just keep that in mind. But we'll have you back throughout because you're just constantly giving us new pieces and helping us all along through the rough patch that we're facing right now. So the first thing that you have launched, and it is part of CFM, is Wholesale. So can you tell us about what Wholesale is?
It's our new shiny little new baby because Emily wants people to elevate and grow, and you got to learn new things for that. So I'm just going to berate them until they comply. But we've had 2 calls so far. I've only went off the rails 5 times, 5 F-bombs. Been really good. That is and the first call was long. So 4 in 2 hours, that's a record for me. It's very low numbers. I need to step up my game. But no, we are talking about the baseline of wholesale. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of hype out there. The reality is wholesale is just a lot of work. It's establishing relationships, and then actually executing. And that work is all done in Excel. And Excel. Well, Excel props up the entire economy, 5 PowerPoints and 14 Excels, and the economy would collapse if the files ever got lost.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the whole thing. You have to just find your patience and find your groove.
Yeah. Because with all the recommendations of documents and stuff, you can't just get those as a consumer. The people that are getting those are the people that have deals and have wholesale connections. And that's where you're going to get all the documentation you need to be able to keep selling.
We were just on a call. We heard from an actual lawyer who tested the theory of getting the CPC and getting the safety testing from companies. And she said, I called them and they do not have to provide them to consumers, and they do not have to provide them unless they're being sued. That is their, cover your ass paperwork. They don't have to do it for us. But I got to tell you, when I go back to my distributor and I'm like, listen, not going to buy this anymore because I need the paperwork. And he pulls up my year-to-date sales and he goes, shit, I'll find you the paperwork.
Yeah.
They have their own conversations. And again, it does go back to the relationships that you build. If, God forbid, in the real world, you sold somebody something, they sue you along with the company, not just in abstract. So they would have to cover you. It doesn't work the same way in the marketplaces. And these marketplaces are making these documents as if though that somehow gives you any kind of authority. And that's not the right way to operate. And that mostly goes towards the Walmart side of things. Amazon has figured out how to authenticate and authorize a little bit better, but also they've been around a little bit longer and in the game of marketplace selling. So we'll see how all of it plays out, but you just have to know your sources. You have to know who you're working with. You have to know where your inventory is coming from. There's a lot of stories. I actually had somebody reach out to me and go, I ended up having inventory with lot numbers on liquidation that were manufactured just this month. I need to figure out what's going on there. I was like, dude. He's like, yeah, we've been checking, because he's out in Cali. He's like, we've been checking ever since, all the shit rolled downhill. So there's always something going on.
Yeah.
There's always a reason for this insanity. But you just have to know your source. You have to know the supply chain. Supply chain has been said ad nauseum by Amazon. Now Walmart's recognizing it,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is Wholesale. Me rambling all sorts of useless information that rattles around in my head.
It's not useless. I told you when you're like, everybody's so quiet. I'm like, no, we are letting you go because you're giving us so many little tidbits and things, and we're all just kind of stacking it because it's so new for us and so out of what we've been doing for years that, you know, we have to change the way we think, the way we source, the way we set up our business. I mean, it's just a completely different model. And I love that you shared yesterday to like pull what you're good at or what you know, find your strength. But it's just, you're walking us through it. And I appreciate the hand holding sometimes. And it's not just a nice handhold, it's a pull us along because we need it. We need it.
I'm like, the light's turning green any second. And if you're in the middle of the street, you're getting run over by a car, hurry the hell up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, gentle parenting is not something we practice in this household because I am trying to raise proper adults that contribute to society. So they get reality starting from diapers and forward. But now my 15-year-old can interact with adults without being a total jackal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love him for it. And, you know, God bless, because he never stopped talking ever since he started.
But one of those too. Shocker coming from us. This is what our children would be like.
He started speaking late and everybody in my family is like, oh my God, we got to fix this.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on.
Give him a second. He'll get there.
He doesn't stop speaking. And all the topics, like he reads the news and then he like tells me about it with his opinions attached. And we get into this like horrid debate where I'm like, you didn't finish reading. You didn't think this through. He's like, I'm just not going to tell you anything anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. Punishment for me. Yes. Wow. Next morning, same story. Did you read the news? He like, when people die, you know, like Armani passed away, he called me within 30 seconds. Like, dude, I have a phone in my hand. I know.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God, that's so cute. That's
yeah.
So cute.
He's been like trying to like decipher his feelings about what happened this week. And I was like, you're going to need to marinate on that because like, I'm not debating you on it. I'm just going to accept whatever you come at me with. I'm like, but you know, we agree on all the things. So I know you're going to figure it out. Just marinate. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. I'm glad
it has.
Friday.
It really has. We were talking about that there's just, I don't know, all the things dropping business wise, work wise. Like, I don't know what's one of those, whoever tracks the retrograde and stuff, like, please let us know. Cause I have a feeling something is off in the shift.
I think the Mercury in retrograde,
super moon, red, blue, purple, whatever it is.
I think we got the galaxy's imploding on itself because I don't think Mercury being in retrograde can have all of this, in fact, all at once.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
we don't have enough sage for that shit.
No.
Okay, but to get us back to the main topic, Whole Start. It is hosted in the Crazy Flip a Mom community. It is starting right now and open for anybody to join. If you're in the community, you can join our calls, get the recordings, get the homework, catch up. Soon it will be a closed group. You will have to be vetted to get in. So if you don't start in with the group, it's not just open, you click a button and join. We want to make sure people who join are ready for Wholesale because this has an extra price tag attached to it. It is not going to be just typically in the Crazy Flip a Mom community. Am I really glitchy?
No, you're fine. I don't know what's happening on your end. You're good.
Okay. Well, typically everything's included, right? We do courses. We give away so much. All of our calls, we don't upsell. It's all, this is a extra group. It's an extra add-on. And we want to make sure before you join and take that commitment, you're ready for it. So if you aren't in yet, you should join now. These couple of weeks are supposed to prepare you to like give you an idea.
Oh, now she's
there. She went.
Oh man, I even switched internet. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, now we can. But it all of a sudden you were fine before, and then it glitched. I guess whenever you switched to this other one. So
I switched, and now I don't know. Maybe I should switch back. But basically, the next couple of weeks are supposed to let you know, like prepare you so you know if this is the next step for you or not. So join now. This is Diana is like a diamond in the rough in this space. A lot of people have courses, but you find the information is always changing. And if you're not actively selling.
All right. Switch to switch to the other internet.
Oh, be right back. BRB.
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 Yeah. So I know. Well, and it's everything's changing, like you guys said. It's just we have to watch this. I think this is going to be a very different Q4 than ever before. Which I mean, I know everybody's like they say that a lot.
Not go heavy. No.
Yeah.
I would not go heavy. I wouldn't. I'm telling you now is that the economy is going to scare people off. The cost of gold is a tangible thing. That's why I ever even like pay attention to something like that. My index of when the economy is like going down the toilet is when the secondary market for handbags and luxury items starts going up. So if you take a look, LVMH has been like on a steep decline. Hermes is the only one that's like keeping up its pretenses, but that's because they have a product with a very, very limited supply to some degree. Is it as limited as they make it out to be? Probably not, but it is a limited supply product. So those are interesting. You're looking at them and you're like, what's actually going on? But then when you go to the secondary market, you're actually like seeing the people's reaction, not the corporate reaction. When a corporation releases its earnings or releases that, it's down, that's just what it means for them, right? Yeah. And you could correlate it. People are buying less. People are buying less aspirational things. People are focusing on the price of eggs. But when you have a secondary market to look at, and luxury handbags have a very robust market, and you are seeing people part with items that they love and they probably saved for, that's when we are in trouble.
Yeah.
And the secondary market has been through the roof. And I kind of been forever trying to be like the person that buys the things when they're on the decline. So like, I love bags. That's why I'm following it. But, I have girlfriends who are like, oh my God, I bought something in May that's like nice and shiny. And now it's like 3 times the price. I'm going to sell it and hold. And I'm like, that's a very interesting thing. Cause I'm not a jewelry person, but my girlfriend dragged me into it and she like showed me all these things. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is interesting. And so the price of gold this year has gone up. Stocks for the publicly traded food distributors have gone up. So that means something, people are focused on the needs, and it gets very interesting when you start dissecting it in layman's terms, as opposed to like when people are talking at you and like the S&P is doing this. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
If I had the money to put into like the S&P, I would, but I'm just putting it into inventory because that's what I do. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's why I remember saying that to my husband one time, because back when we could all do the buy and hold and you didn't have to have everything out within 365 and some of these things, I said, it's just like an investment. If we put our money into an S&P or whatever stock, we're putting it in there, we're leaving it for a year or two, and then we're going to, how much is it? 10%, 20%, what kind of return? What's realistic where I can take this and I get a 2,000% return on it, So now you can't really do that model anymore. So it's just, everything's really pivoting. And so are you going to be stuck there and not change, or are you going to move with it? Because last as a reseller, you got to move.
But that's the other thing. Those margins you're talking about, those are RA/OA margins, right? Retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. You can't have that consistently throughout the year, where wholesale changes that. Your margin's trash. And I'm sorry to tell you, anybody out there listening that's talking about these magical margins, just stop it. They don't exist. Like, I talk to so many sellers. The sellers with like adequate margins are sitting there quietly not talking about them because they're not something to write home about. My margins in like the early 2000s, like we're not even talking 2010s, we're talking 2000s. Yes, those were absurd wholesale margins. Like the people first to the game, absurd wholesale margins, because nobody understood the game. We were just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? And some of the spaghetti slid down and some stayed up there. But today, there cannot possibly be a real conversation where people are like, oh my God, I made like Oh, no, you didn't. That's your gross revenue and that's your gross margin. And from that gross margin, you got to pay taxes because there's like very few things that I fear more than the IRS.
Yep.
And you got to pay your operational cost. And I'm not talking about the cost of prep. I'm talking about accounting for the time you spend in the business. Because if that money is not worth it, go get a job, right? Yeah, I know the job market right now is not the best, but I'm sorry, but like,
guaranteed paycheck where, this
right?
is not always a guaranteed paycheck.
The risk and the liability that we all carry, it's a lot. And
Yeah.
it's a mental load, it's a physical load for people that are running around RA. Like my load is a lot less. My butt is in a chair, I'm sitting looking at a spreadsheet or having a conversation on the phone. It's a little different, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm not drained after having like back-to-back phone calls for 3 days running.
Sure.
So nothing is easy, nothing is fast, nothing is quick, but this is a uncapped market. The money, time, and energy you put into it, you get back, right?
Yeah.
You got to learn how to read data and you got to learn how to analyze data and you got to just see the bigger picture. If you are trying to work for like today, you'll run out of hours before you get anything accomplished, right? Yeah. You give yourself a little bit of runway, you accept the ugly truths that this isn't about like getting rich quick. This is about consistency. And this is about being able to consistently source without having to go to like 14 Walmarts or drive across state lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are benefits to RAOA. And I'm not saying let's never look at RAOA again. The margins are magnificent there. When an opportunity arises, take it. But sometimes opportunity is just a job masquerading around as an opportunity. So like, do you need another job? So wholesale is not for everybody. I'm not asking you to join me on the dark side. I'm offering it because Emily wants to expand the knowledge base. I'm not forcing you to do this. And like from day one, Emily missed it. I hope you caught briefly, like if you don't want to, if this is too harsh for you, don't come back the next time. I don't know if anybody like actually left, but that's the reality. Like I'm never going to give you easy. I'm going to give you the reality and I'm going to show you the path towards like closer to the truth. Like if you're not going to be able to do it, I'll tell you right off the bat because I don't want you to waste your time and energy and money. And I'm like the walking ad for abstinence. When I was pregnant, I was so unhappy being pregnant. I'm just not a happy pregnant person. And some of my girlfriends heard me and they're like, oh my God, nobody talks about this. And I was like, my ribs are over here.
Yeah.
Right? I was this like cute little round situation. And like, all I could do is like walk around because I could physically show them that like my ribs were here and then my ribs were over here. And people were just like, holy crap. So like the same thing with this business. People don't take it seriously enough. They think they're going to jump in. They're going to talk their way into something. They're going to get these magic accounts and they're going to be rolling in it.
Yeah. They're going to get a wholesale account to Hershey and they're the only ones to sell her. Like, I love when people like come in with that energy and I'm like, I love that for you. However, no, that's not.
Yes. And this market has gotten progressively crazier. COVID really disrupted the industry on like the next level because when I started dinosaurs, Stone Age, whatever, we don't talk about that. I'm proud that I'm still standing, but I started on the platform because I had access through a business that was operational and running and functioning. So like I just took that and I applied it to this platform. A lot of people are coming onto the platform trying to build a business. That's very hard.
Yeah.
You have to build your business. You have to know what you are doing. You have to have some sort of skill set, like Emily said, I keep telling people, lean into what you know. You said, lean into, you have to know something, right? Because there are thousands of people picking up the phone and calling on, I would like an account. That's great. I can give you the phone number of who to call and they'll open you the account. What are you going to do next with that account? You're going to see the margin is hard. You're going to see that there's like 50,000 lines and you have to reconcile a UPC to an ASIN. You're going to lose your mind if you are like not looking at these things with laser focus. So I'd rather save you the trouble and tell you that you just shouldn't do this, because if you're somebody that gives up quickly, if you are somebody that expects magic and miracles, if you are like La La Land, like I'm a delusional person, you have to be to some degree, but you can't be like in La La Land, right?
Yeah. No,
So
you can't figure out the RAOA where it's just right there in front of you and like you're physically looking at the product and if you can't figure that out, there's no way you're going to be able to do that by looking at a spreadsheet and knowing, is this the right, you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to be really good with details, really good with details, because these are now, instead of making $100 mistake, you can make $1,000, a $10,000 mistake. So I feel like anybody that's actually been around like you and been in the space and is still in this space started somewhere and has built and taken the baby steps. So because you don't want to put the cart before the horse, you know.
And everybody wants the cart, and I want the cart too. I want the cart too. I'm not trying to pretend here, but it's just I've now been around it long enough that I know that I gotta like put like 14 horses, get them all nicely petted and dangle a bunch of carrots and get them moving and then say thank you 14 times for the opportunity. But the dividends do pay, you know what I mean? And I love it. I love the chaos. I love the fun of it. I love how it's evolved. You know, a lot of the wholesale has now become brand direct and brand relationships. But to me, that was always part of my wholesale. Like I don't have to give it a new moniker. Like, you know, the brand direct conversation, I've been having those conversations with brands since like early 2016, 17, because they were coming to me and they're like, well, we can't figure this damn place out. What are these rules that do not make any sense in the real world? And then I remember when brand registry came out. Oh my God, that was a fun time, because Amazon gave us brand registry, but they didn't do it to control the marketplace. They did it to remove liability from themselves and give brands this semblance of control. And nobody could figure out what it is. And they would just be like, counterfeit claim. I'm like, they bought it from your authorized distributor. You know, that's not a counterfeit claim, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what? And you remember the years where people were getting counterfeit claims? I was behind the scenes trying to educate these brands, like, that's not a counterfeit claim. Just because you don't like them on your listing, that's not what it's used for. Like it says so in brand registry, not for distribution control. And then when you start talking to people about distribution control, their eyes glaze over, their ears fold in, and they're like, no. Brand registry is just another fancy term. Buying in bulk, selling, but now you're also offering these services of helping them navigate the platform, right? Service industry is always lucrative. That's why everybody's talking about this, right? I've just been doing it. I've not been talking about it. I'm so sorry. I'll get louder about it. But at the end of the day, build the relationships, be reliable, be stable. You'll succeed at wholesale.
Yeah.
Be a person.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to talk because it's glitchy, but
Go for it.
I love Diana in this because she's actively doing it. And a lot of the content out there, the courses are outdated. Everything is outdated in like 6 months. So she's one of one who's actively doing it and providing value.
There's a few others. I like a couple of people in the space because they are also actively doing it. But do you realize that like me actively doing it is essentially me hanging my coattails to your buggy, because you're actively doing the marketing part, right? And the people that are the loudest have to put in a lot of energy into being heard. Like, don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. Thank you. Bye.
Like, not an idiot at all, actually.
No.
Right, but I don't have the time to convince the masses that this is it, right? But
I get Emily's point, though. There's some that are really loud in this space that actually are not doing it. And the reason they are loud is because they aren't busy selling. They have all the time in the world to be the loudest in the space.
And that's right.
Yeah.
It's hard to do both.
Yes.
Right. So the people online you're actually seeing aren't doing it or have stopped because things changed this year. Their business changed. They got shut down. They stopped. And, you know, things in the business don't stop. So if you're not talking to somebody who's still doing it, your business model is outdated. Like the information is outdated.
Yeah. Listen, we had a huge bump in bad information during COVID because Amazon didn't know what was going on. People didn't know what was going on. Our own government didn't know what was really truly going on. Like nobody knew, right? And we were all living in this like the grip of fear of like, well, God forbid, who's going to be the next person to die? Like how many people am I going to like lose? It was not a great time. But during that time, the money started flowing because everybody was bound to their home and they're ordering all the crap that they could possibly need and not need from the internet. And so everybody's revenue numbers were like big and huge and appealing.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of those people held on to it? Show me those people. I know those people, right? But I also know people that took out massive SBA loans because if you remember, like, I think it was up to
them out like crazy.
Yeah, up to 250, you didn't even have to give them a personal guarantee.
Crazy.
And then like not $250, $250,000, right? And then like after that, there was personal guarantees and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But they were writing these $1 million loans. And because we're in such an industry, like in the wholesale side of things, that we are very desensitized to numbers. I'm extremely desensitized to numbers. Like I often catch myself saying dumb shit and I'm like, shit, I should shut up because that's way too many zeros for like the regular world. And when you look at like how small businesses perform in the real world and their margin and the amount of time they spend making that work in our world, it's like 10 more zeros attached to it. And so when all of that happened, there was like a really big influx of horrible, terrible. And everybody was like all of a sudden an expert because they had a $10 million year, but they couldn't hold on to it. And then when free money became free, when money becomes free, you know trouble is going to follow a few years later. And I've been screaming about it since 21. And there are people out there who still recognize that I've been screaming about it for way longer than I should have. But I'd rather be prepared and know that, 21 was a year of inventory because there were constraints. 22 was a year of liquidity. 23 was a weird year. 24 was starting to stabilize and then it fell off the face of the earth. And then we walked into 25 in this messy way. And now the economy is becoming more real to people. It's like, I personally don't think this is going to be a great selling year. And I do hope to be wrong. But I don't think people are going to be out there buying all the things they're seeing on Amazon. And I have to say, it got a lot harder to buy all the things on Amazon. The damn algorithm. I'm putting in a brand name and my first row is sponsored ads. Yes, Amazon, I get it. We give you a lot of money for ads. I love that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be featured 4 times. But if I'm putting that I want a big pen, please stop showing me the XYZ pen. Like that's just not what I'm looking for, right? When I want a pink pen and I don't know which brand, I just wanted with a fluffy little bowl, cool, give me 14 options. But when I'm putting a big pen, stop showing me all the other stuff. I know what I want. And the algorithm is learning, and Rufus is an interesting new thing because, AI, everything. But at the end of the day, at what point does it become information overload, paralysis analysis of how to operate in this bubble?
Yeah.
And people are just seeing the stars. Yeah, Amazon's growing. So is Walmart. Great. But our paychecks are not aligned with the exponential costs of existing.
Yeah. I know. That's why I said this year, I definitely want, I don't know if it'll be as good as last year, but if I'm still standing at the end of the year, then it was a successful year. Just because I feel like there was just so many rollouts this year. It's just been such a weird time. And even my husband, who works in an industry that really markets to people that can't pay for things, like that are struggling financially, even that people that it's something that a necessity they need, and they have such a niche market that they are the only ones providing to them. They're even seeing it. So like you said, it's watching that secondhand, watching all those things kind of happening that people can't even buy necessities right now. Or who was it? Ashley in the group said she had a customer on Walmart say, I need a refund for whatever she bought because she was, I can't even buy my tampons. I need this money back because I can't even buy that, So I'm like, it's just, what people are buying is going to change. So if you are in things that are, consumables and everyday use products, I think you'll be okay. But if you are in some of those like outskirt categories, I just don't. That's why everybody's freaking out about toys in the CPC with toys. And I'm going, I don't know if toys are going to be as big as they have been in years past, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I know for me, my kids kind of like, I don't really care about that. I rather have like a video game or something, you know what I mean? Like something that is more reusable.
And that's the other thing that we really also don't really talk about in this industry. We all remember our youths and toys under the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
My kids don't want toys, and I'm so glad for it. And I have a lot of Lego. Lego's a staple. I get it. But I also have a lot of unopened Lego that is going to be leaving my house.
Yeah.
What my kids want today is Robux, and I make them work for it. I'm like, if I'm going to turn my actual physical real money into this garbage, you are going to work for it.
Yes.
I'm not throwing out the garbage. I'm not unloading the dishwasher. You are folding laundry. You are doing 14 other things that come to my mind. My older one, who's 15, is amazing. He can take care of the 8-year-old. He could feed him. He could wake him up. He can get him dressed for school. He could help me pick him up from school. He does all these things for Roblox. And only recently have we started shifting where he wants other things than Roblox, but they're now more adult things, right?
Yeah.
My 8-year-old wanted a VR, and now that he has this VR, he wants the virtual crap for the VR. So I don't know if it's us that can't let go of the idea of toys, or if the toy market really is still that powerful. I think there's a lot of pop culture toys. There's like 90s nostalgia, but those are more adult toys at this point.
Yeah.
I remember the Cabbage Patch dolls. I remember Furby. I remember Elmo. I remember TMX Elmo very much. That's like a very important day in my household. My husband was not thrilled with me. Let's just put it mildly. So I remembered those gold rushes, you know what I mean? And we now have these Labubus, right? And obviously I have a Labubu. Come on. It's fluffy and, I needed to see what the hype is about. But like, it's a cycle thing. You see how the economy forces you into these things. Like, we still want that piece of luxury, that piece of like aha moment, your Stanley Cup, my Starbucks mug, our $7 coffees. It's small, affordable, attainable luxuries, but it's not the same thing anymore. It's quickly changing. I survived the first recession in this economy, this type of economy, in this industry. I was selling on Amazon through all that time. That was like right pretty much as FBA was fully rolling out to everybody. The economy was falling apart on my head, right?
Yeah.
I remember what was being sold. I remember that like my best seller one of those years was like the small, tiny Pictionary man, not the big one. It was like the $9.99 model. It wasn't the $29.99 game. So we just have to readjust. So my prediction, my crystal ball says, watch your pocket. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are beginning to see that. So with all the changes in all the marketplaces, with Walmart, with Amazon constantly throwing something at the wall, seeing what happens, Amazon's for profit now. It's a very different game. When I started, they were not really for profit. They were for operations, for building, blah, blah, blah. But like, they're for profit. They want you to spend money on the ads and the services and the this and the that. And we know how much FBA fees go up. And we know that I complain about trucking costs at the end of the year like nobody's business. I'd rather pay for storage space at Amazon than for trucking in November and December. All of these things add up very quickly. So if you're standing at the end of this year, pat yourself on the back. You didn't get suspended from Walmart. You didn't get suspended from Amazon. You didn't get caught up in the insanity. And if you made like, more than $5, it's a win. Make it up next year. Learn. Let's together talk about it at Sellers United, because there's going to be a ton of information there, right? That's the whole point of that event, because it was born on the show floor of Prosper for wholesale, right?
Can you talk about it? Can we get into that then?
Yes.
So those that don't know about Sellers United, like, that is the conference to go to. If you even have any hint of wanting to know anything about wholesale, you have to be there because that is where all the information is going to be. That's where all the people are going to be. I mean, you guys even have Amazon coming, right? Like
this year we have Amazon coming. This is our third year. We changed our name. We changed our date. We shot ourselves in the foot. That's what we do. But we did it for the people, right? We were AMZ United. We started as AMZ United because that was the platform. You know what I mean? 2 years ago, the conversation about Walmart existed, but not at this level. Yeah. Well, it went up and it quickly went down right after August. You know, ask Emily.
Don't scratch that wound.
I know. Don't get me started.
Listen, on the first time I was here, you wanted me to go bananas. So maybe like I returned the favor.
I don't have the internet bandwidth.
The bandwidth to tolerate the steam coming off of Emily. Yes. That like, you know what? The course correction for them is really not that crazy. They just have to open up their ears and eyes and we'll be okay. Yeah. But they're corporate, so we'll see how long that's going to take. Anyway, so AMZ United was born on the show floor of a private label event because I didn't feel like I had a home there. I was like, let's give us a home. Let's get this together. Year one was magic and miracles, and it was just like a whirlwind of things. We learned a lot. I mean, we put on an event from March to August that we were done. The following year, we learned that Walmart is going to have an event same days. We lost people to Walmart because Walmart was becoming more of a conversation. I still remember the day Emily was like, I'm going to be the first one to talk about it because all these people who are very loud at this space, who are not currently paying attention, are going to catch up like 6 months late to the game. And I like to stay on top of trends. I like to be ahead of trends. So I was like, that girl got it. Like she understood the assignment. But on that same note, we had a great year too. We had $1 billion panel closeout last year show talking about brand management and brand direct relationships and how to like operate in that piece of the industry and what it means. My topics never change. I'm always talking about the same thing: relationships, communication and relationships, and just don't fall flat on your face. And this is like, I spoke at Emily's show. This is really the only other place. This is the only place I speak. James makes me. And this year, James pulled off magical miracles because he filled the stage with some of the people that still do the thing, talk about the thing, and do things well. And he brought Amazon to the table. So Amazon, not Amazon ads, not Amazon, buy with Prime, who's trying to sell you something. We're not going to ask you to add a button to your Shopify store. We are giving you access to people that you would need to travel to Seattle for. Accelerate is literally on Tuesday. Guess what? Seattle is very, very far from the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast. I'm going to complain about the long flight. I'm going to complain about having to take the red eye back. If you just can't go, here's your opportunity. Right. They're coming to the East Coast, right? Yeah. I can only do so much for the community. I could say the same things. I could try to steer. I could do. But at some point, people have to start realizing it for themselves. Last year, we had a lot of OA and RA people, and I compliment them highly for that, because why do I go to places like Prosper when I don't find that to be my home? You'll learn a lot from a different business model.
Right.
I learned how to do a lot of the insane ads and insane crazy tactics and what's effective and what's not effective because it applies to me in brand management, right? I wouldn't have that access to that information unless I went out and made friends with the people who are doing it on the day. The PL people don't have these concerns about, inventory constraints or inventory allocations because they're making the inventory. And as long as they time it right, they're in stock. For me, my best-selling product is dependent on a company not screwing it up. That means sourcing the raw materials. That means sourcing the plastic containers. That means sourcing the paper box. And because they're big corporations, we know how well they communicate and everything just runs like a well-oiled machine, right? Yeah. So although we have different problems, we also have a very solid middle ground where we could learn from each other, right? If the private label people want to get better at logistics and save some costs, I have plenty of ideas if they would listen. James is very famous for working with a brand and figuring out how to save hundreds and thousands of dollars on a singular ASIN by simply changing the box size. And I'm not talking about the product size. I'm talking about the master cartons and how they fit on a pallet and how they are shipped, on a container and into Amazon and all of these things. Hundreds and thousands of dollars. But again, there's this barrier where it's different business models. A lot of things in PL is outsourced. A lot of things in wholesale don't make sense to PL, but you learn. That's how you learn. The difference is where the best piece of advice always is, right? Yeah. So even if you're not in wholesale, guess what? You will learn something. You will find something. We have right now, obviously, Smart Scout, because Scott Needham is one of the co-founders along with Michael White. We have them as, the large sponsor, and we have my favorite, you have to do no work sponsor, ABX Returns. Returns are the bane of my existence.
Mine too.
So, they come in, you never have time to deal with them as they come in. They pile up. Then you have to allocate time to deal with them. Then you have to record all the stuff. Then you have to file the claims. Then you have to figure out what you're doing with it. Yes, you could recover like anywhere from like 50 to 80% and recover costs, but there's work involved, right? So it's not a zero cost operation. Well, guess what? Alan takes all of that off your head. You send it directly to him from Amazon. You don't even have to see it show up in your warehouse, your garage, your house, wherever it is you're operating from. It goes straight to him. They unbox it. They have the paperwork. They notify you. They keep track. They sell wherever it is it sells. Yes, there's restrictions on what you could send him. Yeah, you're not going to remove expired product to him. But if you're removing expired product to yourself, let's have that conversation. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I get things that are not moving. I get things that, got stranded because the listing went dog page or because Walmart returned a trillion things. There's a happy medium. I'm not saying this is a one size fits all, but Alan is really great at making sense of these things. We have another couple of new vendors that are joining us. As things change and things evolve, it's there. Flash Pricer is going to be there. They're a repricer, but we also have Go Aura. And we have Seller Snap, who we all know and have been working with forever. We have, who do we have? Obviously, we have 3PL services, and James is one of the leading voices of the 3PL services for wholesale. He tries to figure out all the insanities and the Amazon.
His articles, I want to have him on the podcast. I don't know if he wants to come on and chat with us because I know he loves this so we make him feel so uncomfortable, but I feel like I love hearing James's take when something rolls out, some new policy, and, we have chat of 5,000, wholesale fancy people and stuff. And when they're even saying like, what does this mean? And James comes through with one of his magic articles. And I'm like, thank you for breaking it down. I now understand. Because even when it came out of like getting around fees and doing like 5 like boxes, I was like, oh, okay, they said that, but they didn't say that. And then when James said that, I was like, oh, I can figure this out. This is no problem. Like, I now know how to do this and get around these fees. Thank you, James.
Right. So, that a lot of it comes from like me incestuously pestering him. I'm like, but I don't understand. Speak to me like I'm stupid.
Yeah.
And he does.
Well, and I appreciate it because I'm like, thank you, sir, because Amazon's lingo goes in 10 circles and they confuse themselves. And then James goes, wait a minute. This is what they actually mean. I'm like, oh, good.
So that one of his blog posts is actually like, we got this, like he got told this. It's not like we got it out of thin air, but he got told this. His article was being circulated as the manual essentially internally at Amazon because they themselves couldn't understand the policy. And that's nothing to like laugh about. I mean, the reality is it's a lot of it is in legalese. A lot of it is not written for the 5th grade level. And let's just be honest. I like to be sometimes like taught at a 5th grade level. Do this, don't do that.
Tell me what I gotta do. A to B. The end. I don't need to know why it has to be A to B. Just tell me A to B.
Right. You want it? Yeah. You want it. It's your sandbox. Cool. But like make it clear, like you said, if I put 5 identical boxes, we're good. Right. But like, people still have a hard time wrapping their head around optimization. And I'm going to tell you, James did the research for me and for himself, for all of us. It rarely makes sense to pay the placement fees, right?
Yeah.
But go try to convince somebody that that's not going to speed things up. Go try to convince somebody that, it all goes to one location, and then guess what happens? Amazon still spreads it out. So
Yes.
you're trying to conserve for the time between it being on your warehouse floor to it selling. That's
Yes.
really not the option. But there's a lot of finer pieces of things. So James really does all of these magical things for us. And, he does warehousing if you qualify, or he'll recommend you the right place if you don't qualify for his facility. And you could see how full his facility is at all times on Instagram. And he's very good at updating us on the insanity in black and white posts. This is it. You don't have to like it, but that's just what it is. So we have him. We have Tim from Pennsylvania as a 3PL. What else do we have besides 3PLs? We have Seller Basics, obviously, and Riverband, both who provide compliance. We have
Seller Amp?
Seller Amp is coming, yeah. Seller Amp is coming.
Awesome.
3 calls.
We have a lot of new faces. Oh, you know what? We just got Reimbursement Genie coming. Reimbursement Genie and I have been talking for the last week, and they've been telling me about all different methods of which they still get reimbursements. We know that Gatito is the old big player in the game, and not entirely sure what's going on with them, but they got acquired and then they got sold, or they got sold and then acquired. And so we really have, limited options. We have True Ops and Seller Investigators still, but now we have somebody who does more than just, lost and bound and damaged that warehouse. Reimbursement Genie keeps insisting that I must try them, and I will try them. It's just bad timing. But I'm also going to have James try them so that he could come back with the book report.
Right. And in this industry, we don't have, you don't graduate from school with something. So you go to events. You network, you connect. That's how you invest in your business. So showing up to these days, sometimes a weekend, can be life-changing for you.
Right. And so I just want to make sure that we also end on an educational note. There are things that are called conferences. Those are for education. Sellers United is a conference. Seller Retreat was a conference. We learn things, we share ideas, we network, we come out better than we came in. There are trade shows. I go to a lot of industry trade shows. Trade shows are designed either by the vendor or by an association or by a collection of industry leaders to obtain new buyers of product. In the next couple of months, I am going to be doing a lot of traveling. There's a lot of shows coming up. I was at a show last week. I'm going to be going to Accelerate. Then I have a show in Vegas. Then I have another show in Vegas. Then I have another show in Vegas. And then January comes around and I go to Vegas again. So trade shows is a place where it is not education, it is buying. But then you also have expos. Expos is the combination of the two. At the expo, you have a show floor or a show pavilion or exhibitor floor. Terminology is changing across industries, but it is what it is. But I feel like in our industry, everybody's like trade show. Well, there are levels to it. Conference is education, trade shows buying. Expo is the mix of the two, where you could get some education, you could get some one-on-one time with specific execs or specific companies or specific brands, but you could also roam around the show floor and figure out if this is product that you want to stock and sell, or if these are the brands you want to work with, et cetera, et cetera. So there's your clarification. So you don't have to Google the difference between the three. And come to our wholesale conference in Secaucus, New Jersey, or at the Meadowlands Expo on October 16th. Don't miss the October 15th networking. There's a coupon code from Emily. It's a CFM, and you get $50 off. So if you buy the ticket with Casino Night, which is the networking event, same price as buying the regular one-day ticket without the Casino Night. Get to meet everybody the night before. Make friends. If you're scared of coming, there's going to be a lot of new people, and everybody's really nice. Everybody's very eager to connect. And if you really, truly can't find a single soul, find me, Emily. We'll introduce you to everyone else. I'm going to have a ginormous duck booth. I will likely not be there most of the day because I'll be running around like a chicken without my head.
I'll be there.
But somebody will be there. And, if you find me, let's talk about Whole Start. Let's talk about your problems. Let's talk about how we could like make you an adult and fix your business and make you grow, or, stabilize you so that you could live a happy, peaceful life. Don't come at me if you are like drowning in debt and on the verge of bankruptcy. I cannot help you. You got to hear yourself, figure it out. So, and also if you're new, I have people for you to talk to. Do not start asking me how to add a product to the catalog. Just don't do it. You're not going to like it because I'm going to start telling you about how you have to build a process and you're not going to like it. So just, ask after Googling. Can't hear you, Jen. Would you say?
Yeah, it's like
She's moving her lips.
you're
Sorry, could you know what? My neighbors decided to cut down a tree. Like, this is the opportune time to have a full-blown like tree eater machine, whatever that is out there, and it's like roar. So I muted myself because I'm like, I don't need that behind. Can you hear it or not?
Not really.
Okay, good. Because sorry, so I put mute and mute because I'm like, just in case, because all the things are happening out there. Because why not on a Friday? I love this for me. So
crazy.
no, I said they're gonna say, how do I open an Amazon account? If you come up to Diana and ask that question,
Right.
she will never speak to you again.
Right.
And if you come up and I ask you, so what do you do? And you tell me you're an FBA seller, it's over. We're done.
FBA seller.
Somebody said that to me last year at AMZ United, and I
Okay.
But we're making Diana nice. She's making me mean. I actually talked to one of our mutual friends, Jordan, and I brought up somebody I'd met, and he's like, "Oh, I talked to Diana about this person." I was like, "Well, I'm sure she only said bad things, so I'm going to tell you the good things." And he's like, "Yeah, I appreciate that about her, though." Like, okay.
I'm not going to tell bad things. I'm going to tell you the version you presented to me, and I'm going to just take it at face value. I'm not going to try to dig deeper. Like,
right.
We all have our own issues. I understand you may be in a mood, or maybe Mercury is in retrograde, but how you present yourself to me is how I'm going to take you. I'm not going to try to be your therapist. That's not my career goals. That's not my job.
Yeah.
So deal with your personal
We're each other's therapists, and this is not the. Sorry, you can't be part of that.
Yeah, we get enough problems. We get enough problems. We're solving them one at a time. Emily has one hand of nails now, or two. Two. There you go.
So professional.
Every meeting I have more nails on.
See, we problem solved here.
We are multitaskers at best. Like you said, you're like, well, when you're a mom, you're doing inventory management already. Like how many snacks, they're scheduling, and logistics of who's taking what kid to where and what event. And
right.
Yeah. And then you also get, I love being Uber. I have to tell you. So today in the morning, my oldest kid's bus did not come. Whatever. We don't even deal with that. So I had to drive him. I also had the small one, and my husband is out camping. So there's one of me, and I had to be in 3 places because the dog also needs walking. So I lived 4 lives in the morning, but then after I dropped them off, I was like, I'm going to go do something that I just has to be mindless. And I was like, oh, we are out of milk and we need coffee. And all of this inventory is mentally in my head. I'm like, I failed at life. I failed at life. This is not what should be in my head at 8:30 in the morning.
It wakes me up. I keep my phone next to me, and if I think of something, I just lean over and I add it to the list in my phone. Did I tell you guys how when I was in Paris, I thought somebody stole my phone and I had a full-blown panic attack? Not because I was worried. I just thought of all my lists. I was like, wait, let me transfer everything and you can take the stinking phone. But my list, I cannot.
That's
not my pictures I just took from Disneyland Paris. Not my list.
Right.
You don't understand.
Right. Don't you have a terabyte of the cloud that you're paying for? Because I've had that terabyte now, and I think we're now up to 2 terabytes because everything is automatically and instantly backed up. I remember.
I need to.
I was in Seattle. I
have an external hard drive that I always offload everything to, but I hadn't done it.
No, everything goes to the cloud. I remember I was in Seattle one year, and somewhere between my house and landing in Seattle, I lost my phone.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, I'm not going to let this affect me. I called like my carrier and I was like, lost my phone. I'm going to pick it up at this Apple store. And I went shopping in Seattle, picked up my phone. The most annoying thing of it, like for all the information to come into the phone took forever. But I was like, all right. And now I have a phone.
Yeah.
I was like, not even going to think about this.
I need to do
But
that.
yeah, my phone is life. Like it reminds me of all the things. And it's like,
It's my second brain.
yes,
Yeah.
right. But then I realized the dumb shit that I hold in my brain as a mother, that we're out of milk.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to buy milk and some yogurt that, we have like 2 out of the 3 flavors they eat, so I bought the third. I'm trying to make up for all the transgressions that I've like had in the past 2 weeks with school starting and like me not having school supplies for them until like 2 days after school. And the younger ones over the headphones came in on Wednesday of this week. Like, I'm not winning awards, but I'm also not trying for Mother of the Year award here. I'm just trying to be like, house is not on fire, dog is walked, kids are fed, business is businessing. Good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yes.
We're good. We're
Moving
not
in the
going to
right
add
direction.
anything extra.
Yeah.
One more thing and it all falls apart.
Right. But this is why you need to join community, because we help each other out. I can't imagine.
You have to pack for Accelerate. So yeah.
Oh, what'd you say?
It's Emily again, isn't it?
Yeah, you glitched this time. I don't know. It's telling us.
Yeah,
It's
my
telling
dry
us.
cleaning is not here and I have to pack for Accelerate. Am I frozen?
Oh my gosh. Am I frozen? Who's frozen
No,
here?
Diana
I'm
was
now.
frozen.
This is where we
Okay.
end because the
So this
internet
is why you
doesn't-
need to join Wholestart, join a community. We'll help you out. Come to Sellers United. It could be the change, the network, the moment your business needs.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see everybody there. It's my first Sellers United, and I'm speaking. So come to my session.
Oh, yeah, you're speaking. That's so exciting.
Yes. Diana, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, Diana.
This is a sign we're all glitched out. It's Friday is like we're done.
It's done. We're done adulting. We're done.
Yeah, no, we're
Everybody go get a margarita. It's done.
This is
it's 5 o'clock
ridiculous.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And look at the face I'm stuck on. It's absurd. Absurd.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today, and we will talk to Diana again. Join us on the next one. Bye.
All right.